It's morphine time. At least that's what I think he was saying. For Billy Cranston, as he gets a soft reboot thanks to Hasbro. Now, this is part of the Power Rangers 30th anniversary collection, as you can see with the top logo, a little bit above the top left corner of the package. Now, there's lots to unpack here in this Power Rangers Remastered Lightning Collection Blue Ranger figure. Wow, what a mouthful. Released in 2023 with a better sculpted Billy head and a ton of accessories. So let's take a look at the packaging. We've got plastic-free packaging with the asterisks, except for tape and glue. Thanks for letting us know. And a really nicely designed box. I really like this this cover art over here. So, I mean, obviously I have nothing against, and I think most collectors don't have anything against necessarily using less plastic on the package, but I think that all-important window to show what the figure is sorely missing. I mean, if this box just had this little cutout window and maybe like hiding the rest of the accessories here, you'd be using a lot less plastic, and I think collectors would be happy just to be able to see like the Blue Ranger figure out in front rather than just a render, which is really it, the action figure in its perfect form. So let's take a look at this cool looking art, CGI render maybe, I'm not sure if that's a photograph. We've got more rendered art on the side featuring all the Power Rangers from the original Mighty Morphin Power Ranger series. Sans the White Ranger. Is he on the other side? No, he is not. But there is another picture of the Blue Ranger. Blue Ranger here, same picture over there. And we get to see a ton of the accessories that are included. We've got a swappable head. We've got the glasses. We've got the morpher, which looks pretty cool. And according to this, might have some transparent blue attached to it, or part of it, which is really, really cool. And I'm really glad we got the morpher. I'm actually surprised that we haven't gotten just a little morpher previously. We've got the power gun, and we've got two transformed versions of the power gun. One that's like halfway there and one with a dagger release. I'm honestly not sure what the difference is. I kind of forgot how they used it in the series. I want to say they've maybe used this one more because I feel like the minute you pull out a dagger, they might as well have brought out their other weapons, right? I don't know. Anyway, memory's going to be foggy. It's been a while since I've seen it. We've also got an electricity base, which I don't remember happening much in the series. So I feel like it's kind of like a useless add-on that kind of just adds a little bit more cost of production that I probably could have done without. I feel like maybe there might have been another accessory that I would rather have had, but can't think off the top of my head. We've got dual size here. Maybe that's what they're called. I'm not really sure. And then there's the full power lance, which is basically the two sides connected, but there's like an extra bit here, I suppose. I don't know. Anyway. And also two extra pair of hands. That way he looks a little bit more useful. And of course, you know, helmeted and unhelmeted head. So all this is packaged in this awful closed box. The 6-inch Blue Ranger figure features premium paint and decorative details inspired by the show, with an updated portrait and pinless joints for posability. Celebrating the 30 years of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Billy here is the second longest serving Ranger overall, as David Yost trails only behind Jason David Frank's Tommy Oliver. With 200 plus appearances under his belt, along with his record of being the only cast member to appear in every single episode of the original series, glad to have this figure in its upgraded form, and we'll get to that in a little bit for the collection. This figure, like others in the set, offers over 20 points of articulation placed strategically, which offers some pretty decent movement for an acrobatic character. Just like the Red Ranger, it's honestly difficult to go wrong with a bodysuit character. Clean, simple lines, defined aesthetic, known quantity, and referenceable source material, which of course helps that it is a live action show rather than something from a comic book, something like Spider-Man, so nothing surprising here. We've got swivel hinge ankles, boot calf swivel, double hinge knees, which are pinless, swivel thighs, ball jointed drop down hips, ab crunch waist, ball jointed torso hinge, butterfly pecs, swivel hinge drop down shoulders, barbell jointed head, bicep swivel, double hinged elbows pinless, and swivel hinged wrist. Actually, there's a ball jointed neck base and a ball jointed head. Well, barbell, whatever. Anyhow, so some of the issues with this one actually is all the joints are loose, like below the waist, which is actually a similar issue to what I had with the Snake Eyes figure over here, where it's kind of wiggly, which is not the best for being able to pose. We'll get to that more a little bit later. We can see some of the extra accessories that it comes with. We can see again the sword's, well, this half transformed thing, and the sword looks pretty nice. We've got the bow staff, lance, whatever here. We've got the little morpher, which unfortunately has no clear plastic. It's just painted blue. But of course, you assume that it's going to be pretty difficult to mold and then color this if it was going to be in blue clear plastic. Because if it was in blue clear plastic, they'd have to paint everything around it, as opposed to just molding it in a gray and painting on the details of the blue, red, and gold, which is a lot easier, both from a logistics standpoint, but also probably from a cost standpoint. They did something really, really interesting with the face here of Billy Cranston. It actually looks a lot better. The glasses look a lot better than I expected. And rather than having pegs for the glasses to kind of peg into the head, it's actually, the sides of the glasses are actually molded behind his ears. So there is like a natural structure to how it will fit on the figure itself. It looks pretty cool. I really like the way it looks. Very, very unique way of dealing with it. And the head really, again, doesn't look that bad. And kind of stretching the glasses around. Here we see again, that's how it connects. Pretty ingenious if you ask me. Really, really like that. Unfortunately though, going back to the figure itself, very, very wiggly. The plastic quality seems to have gotten a downgrade. I had a lot of joints that worked well, that were just stiff enough, but not too stiff in order to kind of pose in whatever way a Power Ranger would be. But unfortunately, we've got the wiggle going on, which is really, really unfortunate. There's a lot of issues with his kind of like drop down hips as well. It kind of drops down a little bit too much. The upper left knee over here, no matter how much hot water I dunk it in, it just does not bend. So slight QA issue over there. Butterfly also seems a little bit more loose than I would like, but since, you know, the upper part of his body doesn't really dictate how he stands, it's kind of not too big of a deal if it's loose. The Billy Cranston head pops off very, very easily. However, the helmeted head does not. Not a huge issue for me because I'm planning really to keep the helmeted head on. I don't really care for the human versions, half transformed human versions of the Power Rangers. But yeah, overall, little disappointing, unfortunately. Let's see if we can, yeah. Taking a more detailed look into the figure, we can see that the gun fits in the holster pretty well. No threat of it falling out. There's good detail on the belt morpher, which is pretty cool. He does hold his weapons well. It doesn't look like it's going to fall out of his hands too easily. And there's even little peg holes here at the bottom, which either serves a function. Maybe you can connect all the weapons. I actually should have looked that up before, but I don't know. But yeah, it comes again with these electric blue bases, kind of useless, but you know, I guess a little bit cool. We've already gone over the Billy Cranston head, which looks nice. It looks cool. A whole bunch of different hands. We've got open hand here, and a whole bunch of fists, and a different opening hand. I don't know. I think one of these is supposed to maybe hold the morpher. Maybe not. I don't know. Then we can see the details behind the lance. We've got the Triceratops coin logos at both ends and on the other side as well. So pretty nicely detailed there. Pretty happy with that. And the half transformed and fully transformed gun slash dagger slash whatever this midpoint between the two is. Again, it's really unfortunate. A lot of it's loose. It's going to make it very difficult to pose. I don't know if it's QA issue across the board. I did hear some complaints that this has been an issue for this particular figure, hoping that they'll fix it for future iterations. But oh boy. As we move into figure comparisons to help you decide how the design language for this particular figure shapes up to others in a similar universe, we're bringing along other Hasbro figures from the G.I. Joe Classified line, the Star Wars Black Series, the Power Ranger Lightning Collection from 2019 specifically, and I'm going to go back to that in a second, and the standard perfectly 6-inch scale 6-inch Spider-Man. Here we compare the Blue Rangers and the Red Rangers, again from the 2019 Lightning Collection, and although the figures on its surface are basically the same except for the addition of new pinless joints, they seem to have used a different type of plastic. This was a softer, I don't know how to describe it, a softer plastic, I would say. Whereas this seems like more a hard plastic, if you can bear with my overly technical explanation of this. And I think the issue is when there's a softer plastic, there's probably a little bit more give and with the way the figures are connecting together, especially at joints. And so you can probably have a tighter fit without them necessarily loosening. Now, when you use a harder plastic, it probably means that unless the joints are exactly fit to each other, if they're just barely a hair off, you're going to get a loose joint, as opposed to maybe the more forgiving rubberized plastic, I want to say, even though I know that's not really what it is. Hopefully you guys out in YouTube land sort of get the gist of it, because unfortunately I don't know what exact plastic formula they're using here. As far as standing next to each other on a shelf, they look pretty good together. It appears that the Blue Ranger is a little bit taller than the Red Ranger, but I'm not sure whether it's just the way the legs are. Maybe the back's a little bit straighter or something with the torso over there. Again, the paint job is fine because the costumes that it was based on, very simple. It's really difficult to mess it up. They look well together, as long as you're not attempting to pose the Blue Ranger in any kind of pose which requires fortitude of his lower body at all. He can stand there pretty good, and he can let just everybody else kind of pose around him. Anyway, let me know in the comments if you had the same issues as me with the Blue Ranger, and whether you're pretty upset that you've paid a lot more for a figure that seems to be worse and released 3 years later. And look forward to the next video. Thanks for watching.